Thanks for joining us, everyone. As Anambra State gears up for the November 8 governorship election, the campaign season is rapidly turning into a battleground of narratives, legitimacy, and high-stakes pushback. Just today, Masab, long seen as a voice in Igbo regional activism, rejected calls for a seat at home on election day, accusing those behind the order of being disgruntled and sponsored, and also affirming that they will instead mobilize in favor of a credible election. At the same time, a human rights watchdog, Inter-Society, has described the recent leadership change at INEC as a critical test for electoral credibility in Anambra. They argue that the new INEC team must prove themselves impartial in practice, not just on paper. On another front, Governor Soludo insists that the people have taken over his re-election bid, pointing to mass endorsements from teachers to ethnic associations as evidence of genuine popular support. But how much of that momentum is organic and how much is engineered through state machinery? Are dissenting voices being sidelined or silenced? We're joined by Commissioner for Information Law Mefo, who joins us to answer some of these questions. Thank you for joining us on Beyond the Headlines. You've repeatedly said that the governor's campaign is being taken over by the people, endorsed by teachers, ethnic groups, non-indigens, and what have you. But how do you respond to critics who say what's happening right now is simply amplifying controlled endorsements to shape public perception rather than actually reflecting genuine grassroots momentum?
Thank you for hosting me. And this is an election. You don't expect the opposition to keep quiet. They will keep saying all sorts. But the people have spoken. There is a statement in Igbo language. It says, Obodo Ekwelogo. That means that the Anambra have all agreed that Soludo should continue. Look at my dressing. Can you read my cap? What is written on my cap? That cap is customized. Solution continues. Soludo is Mr. Solution. And then the Anambra are saying that there is no changing him, that he has to be there for another 4 years to complete the good work that he has started. Well, some people would say that the massive endorsements that the governor is enjoying is stage managed. Well, who is stopping them from stage managing theirs? Let's see how they can stage manage and rival Soludo. But I can tell you, we have about 12 candidates in this election, but only about 1 or 2 others that I hear their name. The rest, I don't know them. And yet, even given that we could hear maybe the candidate of APC, that of Labour, beyond these two, we see no other person. And even at that, we cannot say that this is a 3-horse race. No, it is not. It's a battle of unequal. Seriously so. And you see, I wrote a piece days ago when I talked about Soludo setting a new record of how elections in Nigeria should be sponsored, funded. People have taken over the funding of Soludo's election. It has never happened before. In fact, we are just returning from the Ogidi community, where the community contributed and donated to the Soludo campaign 55 million naira. This is just an example of what has been going on, including the students. Students have also contributed. In fact, even before Governor Soludo declared to run, students contributed about 3 million to encourage him to express interest and then purchase his nomination fund. So when people tell you that this is stage managed, that is what we expect a weak, feeble, and incompetent opposition to be saying. Yeah. They stand no chance and they know this.
What we see with donations like that, at best, is the donation. We can't tell the intention behind it. It could also be an investment into the future. Maybe if he gets a second term, let him know that we are here to support him. But campaign season like this bring spotlight on the operations of the Anambra state government, especially how some of its appointees and agencies have performed. An example is when there's crisis like the Onitsha traders shooting. I remember that you had released certain public statements committing to prosecution. There was also the issue of the harassment of a core member at some point. Weeks later, there are questions as to the follow-through. What is the current status of this investigation, for instance, the one that happened in September? Is this government committed to publishing regular status reports or even allow independent media access in order to be able to monitor progress in that regard?
We have handed over both the cases to the police. They are the ones investigating. They are the ones that will prosecute.
Does it bother you, though, that this is one incident too many? Does it also call for the need to rethink the infrastructure as it is currently, given the abuse and loss of life that has been recorded?
Yeah, well, you see, yes, you are right to a reasonable extent when you say that that constitutes an abuse. Yeah, and the government is taking it up as such. Government is on top of it, collaborating with the police, so that full investigations will be done, concluded, and prosecution carried out, so that those who have overstepped their bounds will be able to pay for their actions. The last time I was here with you on this matter, I told you about the standard operations procedure, SOP. I talked about code of conduct. The operatives that you made reference to their reckless actions acted outside these two modalities. And because they did, they have to be made to account. And I think that is what a responsible and responsive government should do. That said, the government is always rethinking, always rejigging, always improving upon the security architecture that you have in Anambra, collaborating with the police. I think I told you the last time we had this conversation that even the CP of police in Anambra had undertaken the retraining of Agune Chamber. And that training has been completed, and that has made them even more professional. That is how government is looking at this, ensuring further training, ensuring their welfare, and prosecuting those who fall outside the SOP and outside the code of conduct. That is what we are doing.
You know, it's even more important now as we count down to the election, because we've spoken to quite a number of candidates in this election who have always made reference to the conduct of these state-controlled security agencies. One of them was the APC candidate who referenced their intervention during the by-election. Another one was the Labour Party candidate who had maybe not the Labour Party candidate, I think he was the Youth Party candidate who was concerned about their intervention in the forthcoming election. They are not expected to participate, right? But how committed are you to ensuring that they don't influence or they don't become active before, during, and after the November polls?
I expect what happened during the by-election that took place in Anambra, the off-season election to replace the late Senator Ifanyoba, to happen again. The AIG of police that was in charge of election security, the first thing he did was to ensure that Agune Chamber didn't participate in election security. He issued a statement and they didn't participate. So I am surprised that somebody is saying that the Agune Chamber interfered in the election security during the off-season senatorial by-election. They didn't. In fact, you talked about the candidate of All Progressives Congress, right, APC. Their candidate is Nicholas Okachukwu. I think he also calls himself a prince. Well, if he was the one complaining. I will be surprised. Was it not the same Okachukwu that confronted a sitting deputy, deputy governor, telling him that he would burn down his car and nothing would happen? It happened. Even the TVC correspondent in Anambra covered it. So if he could say such a thing to the sitting governor, what is the moral ground that is standing to accuse Agune Chamber of participating?
I can't remember him specifically saying that, but I remember he was also questioning what the deputy governor was doing there at the time, because the election wasn't holding in his constituency.
Well, you have a correspondent in Anambra. Ask him to send you the tape where Nicholas Okachukwu told Dr. Onekachukwu Ibezim, a sitting deputy governor of Anambra State, that he would burn down his vehicles and nothing will happen. I just quoted him. I can't be making this up. You know?
I hear you, and what I'm just saying is that I haven't seen that clip. I mean, I saw the clip, but I did not hear him say that specifically. And I'm just saying I can't independently confirm or verify what you're saying. But the point I'm making is that I also heard him ask the deputy governor. Just a minute, sir, if you can hear me. I also heard him question the deputy governor exactly what he was doing at that polling unit, which wasn't his constituency at the time. Does that bother you? I mean, his ability to move around at such a critical time.
Why should it bother me? The deputy governor, listen, the deputy governor was not outside his constituency, out of what you may call, should I say, going beyond his legal bounds. The governor of the state is the chief security officer, and the deputy deputizes the governor in all ramifications, including the issue of security. So there is nothing out of place for a deputy governor to be up and about, ensuring that security is top-notch during the elections.
I hear you, but that's highly debatable because it's also an interested party. And I'm sure that INEC wouldn't even, I don't think there's any INEC rule that gives even Mr. Governor to go about during election. But I don't want us to waste too much time on that. I want us to speak to...
Just wait.
Okay.
No, can I land on that point?
Yes, please do.
On that point.
Go ahead.
The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria or the Electoral Act does not in any way suspend the powers of the governor during the election. It does not. And the deputy governor can always stand in for the governor. And that also... The
point I'm making is that he is not the police, right? He is not the one to single-handedly enforce security in that regard. But allow us to move on, because there are quite a number of other issues I want to, and I don't want us to waste too much time on this, because we're not going to agree on that matter. I'm sure you've seen Massob's release recently, rejecting a sit-at-home order and saying that it's going to back this election. I want to ask you first, what is the status with sit-at-home as we speak today in Anambra?
Sit-at-home has fizzled out in Anambra.
So on what basis is any armed group calling for a sit-at-home? Is that something that worries the state government ahead of this particular election?
How would I know? How would I know? How would I know? You still have remnants of Biafra agitators still talking about a sit-at-home, but the people are no longer complying. This is what is important. If the forthcoming election, November 8th, will be affected adversely by such a threat, we would have seen it during the off-season senatorial election that took place weeks ago. So I know that the Nigerian police are on top of it. They will ensure maximum security. We don't anticipate any disruption or any, should I say, apathy induced by such a threat. It's not the first time they are issuing such a threat, but it will not have any significant effect.
What is the state government's official response to the statement by the Movement for the Actualization of Sovereign State of Biafra, announcing that it has mobilized residents across the state to actively participate in next month's governorship election?
We don't need to react officially to what Amazon has said. No, we don't need to. They have simply joined the litany of groups and individuals who are calling for the return of Soludo. What is raging all over Anambra State, is that Soludo has 4 more years. This is a fact. You have a correspondent here in Anambra. Let him give you some information. What is going on here? Anambra Central has endorsed Soludo. North has, and South has. All groups from students, ranging from students, traders to the political elite. In fact, I'm just returning from Ogidi, where everybody gathered, the traditional rulers, traders, market women, everybody gathered to say that Soludo has 4 more years. Obode Ekwelugo, the Anambra have agreed. This is the first consensus candidate that we are witnessing since 1999 in Anambra State. The very first consensus candidate. And to prove this, they are offering money to the governor. So Soludo will end up not contributing a fading to his own campaign because the people have taken it over.
I hear you, Mr. Mefo, but you agree that endorsement is not the same thing as votes. I am talking about voter apathy, which has been a thing in the Nigerian election, and it's not even limited to Anambra. We hardly have 40% of registered voters come out. So when news like this come out from Masob, you know, it is a concern to stakeholders. It might not bother the Anambra state government, but I'm sure that it will matter to you that whoever wins this election should win convincingly. We should see, you know. I didn't get that. Can you say that again?
I said that your point is valid. There has always been voter apathy, not only in Anambra, but in the entire country. So it is a challenge that we have taken up in this particular election to ensure that we break that jinx and ensure maximum voter turnout come November 8th. I think we will return to review, and you'll see that there will be significant increase or improvement in the voter turnout because everybody is upbeat. People want to really speak with their votes on this election, and I think it's historic. It's something that other states will eventually emulate, particularly to get their people to fund their elections, not the other way around. Before now, what you get is candidates pumping money in the various communities in search of votes. But this time around, communities and individuals and groups are raising money for Soludo openly, raising money. So it is a kind of crowdfunding. It's unprecedented in the annals of the Nigerian elections. And it's something that should be commended, and I believe that Governor Soludo earned it. If you go by the level of performance, kinetic and non-kinetic, physical infrastructure, the other policy interventions like free education, free antenatal, over 600 kilometers of roads already completed, 5 general hospitals, flyovers all over the place, Anambra Beltway, up to five dual carriageways. And these dual carriageways are federal roads that Soludo is constructing. It will not be a flyover, brand new government house, a jinx that Soludo broke after 34 years, and the Solution Fund City that is not only a leisure stopover for every Anambra of any age, of every age, it is also a money spinner. Go and look at the kind of urban regeneration you find in a place like Oboko. Oboko used to be the biggest urban slum in Onitsha, a suburb of Onitsha, one local government to be precise. But they are now in a new haven because they now have a pipe-borne water, they have street lights, they have roads, they have brand new general hospital.
Mr. Law Mefo is the Commissioner for Information in Anambra State. We probably have lost connection with him as we speak. It depends on who you are talking to part-time. You talk to a spokesperson of the Soludo administration, and it's the best thing that has happened after the invention of sliced bread, until you talk to the other candidates who also want to wrestle power from him, and then they begin to highlight challenges from security to economy and his inability to be able to turn the tide in some critical sectors of the state. It doesn't matter what the Anambra people really feel or what they think about his performance, and I think that's possibly what we're going to see happen in November. I was going to raise up the issue with Mr. Commissioner as regards the kind of relationship that currently exists between APGA and the APC in Anambra, or perhaps with the president himself, because the last time Governor Soludo was in Abuja, he was wearing a cap, you know, with the inscription "Progressives Working Together." And we've also seen Mr. President visit him to inaugurate some of his projects and spoke very highly of him. There are conversations as to the kind of relationship he has with Mr. President and how much impact that would have on this election. There's also, yes, Mr. Mefo, can you hear me now? I was asking precisely how the relationship between Mr. Governor and the President will impact on how in the Anambra vote in November.
I don't know. You need to know when the solution governor says progressives are working together. He is referring to the healthy relationship he has always enjoyed with Mr. President, which dates over 2 decades. And they've been friends. When Asewaju, His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, was when he was the governor of Lagos State, Soludo was the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria. So they are actually peers. They have been good friends, and the president honored the solution governor by paying Anambra State a state visit. The state visit was unprecedented, and the president made some iconic statements. That day, he told the Anambra, "We have a solution. Soludo is the solution. He knows the way. We will work with him inclusively." I just quoted Mr. President. And since then, it has been a kind of continuation of the healthy relationship. And it's rubbing off on the Anambra, because the government, the federal government under His Excellency Bola Tinubu, it has been extending some interventions in Anambra in an area of road, area of gully, erosion control, and a good number of other areas. And it shows that the governor has ensured that there is a connection between Anambra and the center. And this is actually in furtherance of a policy run by the All Progressives Grand Alliance to always work with the government at the center. So it's not a policy that Soludo initiated. It goes back to the days of Peter Obi as governor of Anambra State. Soludo is only accentuating it. And it is indeed progressives working together. We are enjoying it. It's a policy that has actually helped Anambra.
Yeah, it's a little bit different because at that time it was the PDP, and there's no progressives in the people's, at least in the nomenclature of the PDP as a party. We have to go now. I've also spoken with APC stakeholders in Anambra who have strong opinions that it is practically impossible for Mr. President to engage in any anti-party activity ahead of that election. We have to go now, Mr. Mefo. Suppose this election goes in favor of the opposition. The Governor Soludo that you know, do you think he will concede defeat and congratulate the winner?
That is what you've just presumed is unthinkable. we haven't even thought along that line. Because
but they say
we
that a
about
politician that is fair must be able to think about defeat, except he's not ready to relinquish power.
In this case, defeat in this case cannot be contemplated.
All right.
We are looking forward to setting a new record. We are sure of winning in 21 over 21 local governments.
All right.
We are sure of winning in the 326 wards. We are also
Mr.
working to win in the 5,720 wards.
We have completely run out of time.
Let me wake up. And these are the polls.
We have to go now. Lord Mefo is Commissioner for Information in Anambra. Thank you so much for talking to us on the program this evening.
Pleasure is always mine. Let's do it again.
Remember that you can watch it again at midnight and 6 a.m. tomorrow.